You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
I am H.O. and it's the questions. Miss Max, how you feeling?
Feeling good. It has been a long time since we've had one of these.
Give it up for Miss Max.
Question. Yeah, I've been missing y'all. We've missed
people in the back.
The show. Yeah, the show before the last live show, I should say.
Yeah, you over there producing college graduates and all this kind of stuff.
Trying to.
Much love. Much props.
But yeah, we've been missing Ask Max, and I know our listeners have been eagerly awaiting, the next one. What are we going to ask? What is everybody's response is going to be? So let's jump right into this one. It actually involves the well-known organization Black Lives Matter. And so the question actually is, and I'll give you some backstory, but the question is whether or not Black Lives Matter helps or if it's a spectacle. Right? That's the question. Whether or not Black Lives Matter helps or is a spectacle. So I went to their website, and their mission is to eradicate white supremacy and build local power to intervene in violence inflicted on Black communities by the state and vigilantes. And then the mission statement goes on further, but just more of the same. Mm-hmm. So the question itself is based on a statement that Samaria Rice, the mother of Tamar Rice, gave regarding the group, right? Mm-hmm. And she specifically says that Black Lives Matter needs to step down, stand back, and stop monopolizing and capitalizing on our fight for justice and human rights. We never hired them to be our representatives in the fight for justice. These activists are in our cities. They're not giving any substantial results. Goes on to criticize the attorney, well-known attorney Benjamin Crump a little. And she just says plainly, stop parading in our streets, accumulating donations, platforms, movie deals off the death of our loved ones. Get out the way. We don't need you. And so that said, are they beneficial, right? Do they help? Or are they a spectacle?
Razor over here look like he holding his meat.
Razor took the words out of my mouth.
Razor's chomping at the bit over here.
Lord have mercy.
You want to get yours out the way, Razor?
I don't know how to. You know what I'm saying? Because when it first happened, a lot of people equated Black Lives Matter to the next civil rights fight. But I quickly understood that there was a difference between local Black Lives Matter and national Black Lives Matter. And I don't know that everybody did.
Right.
So when you had non-Black people coming against Black Lives Matter, you saw the cowardness in a lot of our African American people because they didn't want to stand in front of somebody that didn't look like them and say, yes, my Black life does matter. You know what I'm saying? So they would say, nah, I don't agree with that. And they immediately go to the rioting and the looting and the issues of, as Martin Luther King said, rioting is the voice of the oppressed people. You know? But we're not taught to stand in the face of adversity when that person can control your job or how they look at you, or, you know what I'm saying, your neighbor.
Yeah.
So while I understand everything that she's saying, does it make the people who got out there initially at fault because there's other avenues and parts of it that may not do what you would have expected them to do? You know, because when you say get out the way, and I'm not coming at the lady because she lost her child, you know what I'm saying? But when you say get out the way and stop parading this and another, I don't know if you said that when they first came and put the camera in your face and you were talking, you know? So because you don't receive what you think, man, they raised $50 million. Like if they raised $20, nobody would say nothing. They raised $50 million. You'd be, hey, where my cut at? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know how I feel about the statement.
Okay, so you falling sort of in the middle on it.
I don't know. I can't even say I fall in the middle because I don't know. Like, everybody's right in this circumstance with me.
Yeah.
Maybe not all the way right, but I just don't know how I feel.
Right. So Max, do you remember when I think it was when Hillary was running for president, and we had a show, and Hillary was positioning all those same black women, not Tamir Rice's mom, and this is a very key point. Tamir Rice's mom was the only one out of Trayvon and Mike Brown and all these. She did not participate, and I gave backlash at the same point to say I didn't like that Hillary was using these women for political reasons based upon the black death of their children. I look at it very similar with Black Lives Matter. Extremely similar, because all of this stuff basically, to me, and we talked about this, has now just become like black trauma porn when you see it.
Yeah.
That's what it's become.
Yeah.
And it's become very, I mean, think about it. And that's the article, Charles, that I referenced to everybody. Like, these funerals are becoming almost like entertainment for people to watch. And I'm 100% with her. Now, I agree with Razor to an extent. I'm not sure what her positioning was in the beginning, how financially back this is or what's going on. Yeah. But also, lack of, you know what I'm saying? But also, I've heard other people, whether we like to respect them or not, have talked about Mr. Crump. Yeah. And have said, you like to get in front of the camera, but there's not a lot of tangible things that are happening for these families other than us getting payouts. Yeah. Yeah. And that has been communicated there, not just by her, by a lot of other people. So I just think she has the right to say what she want to say. Absolutely. And, you know, two things can be true, but I think really maybe we need to look at all of our organizations, Max, and say, and you know, I said our. That's not. I don't even know if Black Lives Matter is ours.
It's Black Lives Matter ain't no more ours than NAACP.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a quagmire. It's a
deep
thin line,
right?
bro.
That is deep. I mean, because they are ours. You know, I'm like within a certain light. But you're absolutely right, Razor. And to
no
me,
more than Jordans are.
Right. So Razor, like to me, that beckons to the point that you made about when you look at local compared to national, right? And it really, and like that's the main difference to me is that there's good-hearted people, you know, at every level of the organization, but you're right. It's like you don't have control, and you can't know what's going on in the branch, you know, in the county over, just like you don't know what's going on in the, you know, like in the headquarters of something, right? So we got to be careful that like Aaron said on the website, with those goals and those missions are the people that's actually doing those things. Like I don't want that to be negated because of some, you know, like somebody I was gonna say some profanity, you know, like somebody messing up. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with, you know, we've been talking to politicians. It's like when you first start out, you can be, you know, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, like you all about the people. But as soon as that corporate influence comes in, you might sell out. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like the kid that dreams of being a doctor to help people. As soon as they get piled on with those, you know, medical school bills, and all of a sudden they doing what pharmaceutical companies tell them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So at the heart of things, there are still people doing it the right way. And just like I don't like lambasting any of our people that we even know personally when I may disagree with them, because if I know that the end goal, if we share the same end goal, right. I don't want, you know, us to be fighting in public because the devil gets joy out of that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like so we got to weed out, you know what I mean, and find the folks that are still sticking to the mission, because unfortunately, Max, to my answer to that is that it is a spectacle. Right? Now, here's the thing, though, Max. At the same time, it's beneficial. So I'm kind of in the middle like Razor, because the core mission is beneficial. We need that. Yeah. And the people who have a heart and who are out here trying to make change, we need that. But then there's the people who are using it for their gain.
It's like the CRB here in Charlottesville. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sorry. It is like the mission for what they're trying to do is needed. The people that have to give you permission is what's holding it up. So it's very much that Mr. Crump is getting in, you know, it's not his fault that the cameras are coming to him and showing him. You know, there's other lawyers out there doing stuff. So should I get faulted because they come, or I have the resources, or I say what they want to hear when it comes? Because for whatever reason, he's the lawyer that all these families are grabbing. You know?
Yeah.
So if they're not grabbing him, so how can he be at fault if he's doing his job? And his job is to convince you first that I can represent you
Max,
before he goes to court.
Max, you're a black mother. What's your gut? Because I can almost feel it.
Yeah.
What's your gut when you read that statement that she said? What's your gut telling you about how she just in general?
Right. So just to respond to the question, though, I think that there are really there's no clear cut answer, and a lot of different things to consider in terms of help or spectacle. Want them to show up, not want them to show up. I completely agree that someone who has lost a loved one at the hands of violence, police violence, or what have you, has the right to say who I want to participate in something like this and who I don't. Whether or not I want to be, that's my right. That's my right. When I read this mission statement about eradicating white supremacy and build local power to intervene and balance and things like that, I think that they are being true to their commitment to fight against white supremacy, although that whole scenario is taking place because someone black has lost a loved one. They are true to their commitment to show up and stand out when white supremacy rears its ugly head. And I think that to a degree, all of us want somebody to show up and stand on our side and call out injustice when something, you know what I'm saying, like this happens. I also think that the organization, the Black Lives Matter organization itself, who delegates these local chapters, can do a better job of streamlining maybe their focus and how their protests look. You know, when Dr. King was organizing protests, it's nonviolent. You want to be violent? Goodbye. We're not destroying property. You want to destroy property? Goodbye. And so I think that they could take some authority here and play a bigger role in what these protests look like, right? But, you know, I just, and then just reading the statement itself, I hear the pain of a mother who has experienced the unspeakable, who is frustrated with the lack of results and consequences for the individuals responsible. And maybe, you know, life goes on and maybe even forgotten to a certain degree while she's left to live in the pain and pick up the pieces. And so that's what I hear. And at that point, you know, whether someone is standing on your side or not, you're just angry at the world. Yeah. And you're okay to do that. In this situation, you are okay to do that.
Hey, Max.
But yeah.
You know what? And this ain't gonna be a popular statement. But you can't have it both ways. You can't tell me that you want me to show up and do whatever it takes to get results and then complain about how I act. Because the reason that a lot of people tear up buildings and fight back and do stuff is because we watched films where a dog was biting somebody between the legs. Somebody was getting spit on at the coffee shop, right? So, I mean, people were still getting killed back then.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if I agree with that.
No, I'm just saying. Like
he said it wouldn't be popular.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not saying it's right by no means.
Exhibit 8.
But it's one of those type things that, you know, when something starts off, you have no idea which way it's going to turn, especially something like a spinning top like this.
Right.
So when you start talking about, when you talk about something and you use words like the poem that the mayor did here, right? You go to get people's attention. If I can say, hey, look over here, and you listen, fine. If I have to use more, if I have to use something that grabs you by the gut, then that's what I'm going to do. So the more I think about it, I think Miss Rice may be upset that a lot of what somebody else received was overshadowed by what she may have received or what the justice her child got.
Well,
That's
hold on.
dangerous
Now,
right there.
I don't care.
Wait.
But no, this is the thing. Let me finish, Aaron. Let me
No,
finish.
you
'Cause
good.
if I
You
don't
good.
finish,
You
then it's
good.
going to sound
You
bad.
good. You good.
Because you have to understand, contrary to popular belief, all men ain't created equal. Some people stand up for other people. Look at the little boy that was killed. That looked like Emmett Till. What was his name? Down Florida. Zimmerman.
Trayvon.
Trayvon. Trayvon got so much publicity from our youth, from old people, that his is 10 times more than a lot of those other names that we talk about.
That's because he sort of spearheaded, like that was sort of the first big one of
Right,
this.
right.
of this-
Absolutely not. That's disrespecting everybody that got killed before.
of this
No,
era.
I
I'm
get
talking
this.
about
This
the Black
era,
Lives
yeah.
Matter era. Trayvon was sort of the one that kicked it off for this
And they
era.
acknowledge that is what spearheaded it,
Unfortunately.
too.
Right, but I'm
RIP.
saying, but that's almost like saying Rosa Parks was the first one that said she
But I'm
wasn't
saying for
going to
this
get out.
generation.
Just in this
For this
social
generation.
media, like in this social media, I just want to read
I
something.
got you, but I mean, you still have to look at, okay, for what happens, who actually has the right to receive the blame?
I feel you. I feel you.
That's what I'm kind of getting at.
I want to make sure. Can I just read? I want to read Mrs. Rice's words. I want to be clear. She said, "We don't want." I gotta read it. Should I read it hood? No, I'm gonna read it hood. We don't want or need y'all.
He's trying to get into character.
No, say
We
what
don't
you
want
said.
or need y'all parading in the streets, accumulating donations, platforms, movie deals, etc., off of the death of our loved ones, while families and communities are left clueless and broken. When that clueless and broken at the end,
Yeah.
broken, yeah, but when she says clueless, that means, to me, what it sounds like Miss Rice is saying is that there's a pot full of gold that's going around that's got Tamir Rice's name on it,
And I ain't getting
and we
none.
don't know nothing about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
I don't have any, and I'm not in her position.
I would agree with you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's just saying, and not even that she wants to go. She's even saying, stop saying his name. She didn't. She's not asking for bread.
She wanted to go. I would want to
can't
go.
speak- I can't
No,
speak
I'm
for
saying
her.
I would want, because I would want something that I could take and then turn into a scholarship for my son's name, or if he has children, I would want something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
but if there's a Tamir
there's a
Rice-
monetary goal
Yeah, but
that people use.
But if there's a Tamir Rice story,
Yeah.
and Samira Rice is not authorized to be an executive producer or speaking on something,
Then his mom should get the money.
She needs to be like, y'all need to beep beep and leave this story alone.
Okay.
Don't do this.
Okay.
Because he's my child. I'm his heir. That's my, you know what I'm saying? And that sounds like, to me, Max, correct me, it sounds like that's what she's saying. I don't know. I could be wrong. That's a real touchy one.
I
man.
think you are.
And I really don't know.
I might be,
haven't
but I'm gonna keep talking.
enough to hear how much property was destroyed, or whatever happened in the follow-up of his murder. Because it could her motivation here could very well be monetary, but it could also be me and my loved ones, people I care about, are living in this community, and you've come through and you've torn up the
I can agree with
pharmacy that we use, or you know what I'm saying, the stores that the people in the hoods have, is within walking distance, they can access, and you maybe created a certain, I don't know, culture atmosphere between white and black in our area. And so we are clueless on how to move forward.
Yeah, it feels
following all
heartfelt.
of this. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it feels heartfelt
Yeah.
to me, because she could have easily filed a lawsuit, like for defamation, or like them, illegally using, like the likeness, of her child. There's many legal ways she could do it if it was just money. So
Yeah.
it feels very heartfelt to me.
No, I think it's sincere. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just looking at it for what human nature is too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
but
Miss
I
Max,
mean,
how you want to close this thing out?
I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I think we've said everything that we can. I definitely think that we should respect the mother's wishes. I stand beside that 100%. So, I mean, but we wouldn't even be dealing with all of this if the people of America just had a little more morals, understood the value of life, and
Amen, sister.
change their ways. Look, I don't mean to sound like Michael Jackson, but and change the ways. So yeah, we appreciate that Ask Max. Thank you guys for all the great content as usual.